Okay, we're here on Environews Utah this evening with an ex-employee of the Stericycle medical waste incineration facility in North Salt Lake City, Utah. And I want to say thank you to you for joining us.
You're welcome.
And what can you tell us about your employment there? What was your position or your tasks that you took care of? And
my position started as unloading the trucks, and that lasted for about a week. And then I went to actually loading the belt that goes into the incinerator to burn everything. And the way they had us do it, we'd get like BTO ones or some of the cases they had. They had us throw like 3 or 4 on the scale and just scan one of them. And each thing has a tag where who generated what hospital it came from, where it came from. Each box has its own tag.
You say they'd only have you scan one of
They
them?
only have us scan one barcode for 3 containers.
And what was the reasoning behind that?
Some were radioactive, like the chemotherapy type stuff, and so we put that on the scale, but we scan the one that's not radioactive, not the chemo. So they'd burn it, and everyone knows it's kind of dangerous to burn that kind of stuff.
And so what kind of radiation detecting equipment do they have over there?
I can't remember the thing they had, but it's actually detect radiation, but it worked when it wanted to.
What does that mean?
It's actually detection. It's lucky if it's actually working right. Like, all their equipment's pretty much ran down there. They like to Mickey Mouse things together to try to save money from actually putting repairs on everything. Like when they opened the bypass valve the other day. Well, actually it was probably about, I think it was February when they did it. It's probably something they did wrong, something was malfunctioning there, instead of trying to fix it right, they just opened that one instead. Like they do a lot of half-ass stuff.
And so when these bags come in and they're offloaded, are they scanning every single bag to test it for radioactive materials, or
No.
just a small fraction, or do they just hand select some? Or
I can't remember what the exact tool's name is that they use to detect radioactivity. But
the Geiger counter?
that's it. It's like there's a scale right here where that we put everything on to get the weights, and it goes across, and it's supposed to work, but it worked only half the time.
And then so what happens if some radiation is detected in any of the bags? What would they do?
Some of them they put on another truck like so everything looked like they were doing everything right, but probably about half of it got put on the truck, the other half got burned.
So they would knowingly send radioactive bags right through the incinerator.
Yes.
And was that being ordered by plant managers, or how was that determined?
Our supervisor.
By the supervisor. So there's literally
When I
someone.
first started, I thought I was doing everything the right way. I didn't know. I guess first I worked in an incinerator, so I was just doing my job, and what I was getting paid to do.
And so essentially, a supervisor just kind of stands there and on a bag-by-bag basis.
She wasn't even in the plant after she told us what to do. So she's just trying to leave and go do her own thing.
And let's talk about the amount of material that they're actually putting through there. We know there's a set amount of emissions that they're allowed to have, and that probably is connected to the amount of material that they're running through the incinerator. So I'm assuming they weigh these packages, or when they're declared, or how does that process work?
Well, the way it's supposed to be done, and the way the state law told us we could do is each container we burn has to be weighed and scanned, each one separately. But we put like 3, 4, 5, 6 of them on there to scale at the time and scan one of them and throw everything on the belt.
And that was because you were being ordered to do it that way by plant supervisors?
Yes.
And so only 1 in 5 or 6 bags was actually getting weighed?
Yeah.
Were there managers that were they telling you to feed it through faster and faster at all expenses?
Yes. They try to keep the warehouse less cluttered, because as fast as all the medical waste coming, we couldn't keep up with it. There's no possible way one incinerator in Utah to keep up with everything. And we're the only ones in Utah that does it. So if all the hospitals in Utah, we were getting everything. And there's no way we could keep up with it.
And it's our understanding that waste is also being shipped in to this facility from, they say, at least 8 or 9 states, but do you know of any other locations where
I was
waste
told that
is
some
being
was
shipped?
coming from Mexico, Canada. So I was told it's actually being shipped into the country to be burned there.
And did you see any of that waste?
I've
or
seen
was
some
it,
things that wasn't like the normal stuff that we got there in cases and stuff, like in the, like we call them BTO ones. It's like a gray case that has 2 flaps on the top of it, you know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
Supposed to be locked shut, but they're never locked, like just zip tight shut. So, but there's those, I mean, a lot of nasty stuff comes through there.
Do the procedures or the way that they go about conducting their business, does that change at all after 5 p.m. or in the late night hours?
Like, I
you notice
started
any
off
difference?
working the night shift, and the day shift is run a little bit more stricter, so if anyone comes in, they can see that they're doing everything right. But the night shift, we just pretty much, like our belt, what we're supposed to be able to put in the hopper at one time is around 200 to 250 pounds at one time in the hopper. And that's actually, the belt won't go if you try to put more than that in there. But you have to manually shut the hopper doors to get everything to start burning. And then others go up there, walk up the ladder and throw like 5 or 6 more just right into the hopper and burn them.
And
So they're
we've,
not even recorded at all.
and we've actually heard stories of smoke billowing back into the facility,
Yeah. We call it being smoke in the building out
smoke in the building out.
Yeah.
And that occurred while you were working there?
several times.
And so what happens under those circumstances? I mean, is it a mass evacuation or?
No, they just tell us to keep working through it. They turn some fans on, try to get the stuff to come out, but
Really?
yeah.
What about protective gear? Are there masks? Or is there any kind of precautions that are
I
being
never-
taken to protect
I
workers?
asked my supervisor at the time for a mask and everything, for some kind of respirator, and he told me that one of the ones they would give us are the cheap paper ones that you use for auto body. So, you know what I mean? Just like felt like a fiber mask. That's it. They just, you know what I mean?
They won't even spend money on respirator masks.
The thing they spent money on for us is our uniforms to be cleaned each week. That's it.
And did they do anything to make you aware of, you know, the different, quite frankly, deadly poisons that are being generated in that incinerator?
Not really.
Are they saying, hey, there could be dioxin or radioactive elements in this smoke? Or
They just, when I got hired, they told us that they test our blood every 3 months. That's it.
what does that mean? What?
Like a test for like hepatitis, AIDS, stuff like that.
Mhm.
Because we're supposed to have these gloves they're called armor gloves. Because dealing with needles and everything like that, they're not supposed to be able to be punctured. But I've actually had needles go through me and everything before, like through my hand. Luckily mine wasn't a dirty needle. It was still clean. But needles have expiration dates too, so.
Well, thank goodness for that. And so, you know, back to the amount of waste that's actually coming through and what's honestly being weighed and acknowledged that is being burned in the incinerator. Did you find that they were storing waste on site,
Yes.
you know, for longer than it's supposed to be? Because we understand that once the waste actually comes in, it's only supposed to sit on site for a certain amount of time. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was told as long as it gets set was 48 hours. But we'd have what they call the dry storage. I can't remember what the boxes were called, like the number of the boxes, but they're like these big white, like probably around like 4x4 boxes, like 4 feet wide, 4 feet long, and maybe 2 feet deep. And we empty the BTO ones and then go shove them in the dry storage. That's what they'd have us do with them. And there's trailers that were full that'd be out there for like a week,
And what was the purpose of
keeping it out of the warehouse, make it look nicer. Because legally, someone can't go up there and ask to break a seal on a trailer unless it's DOT. So they can't just come there and break this seal, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's how they kind of hide some of the stuff.
Everybody at this point knows that medical waste is being incinerated there, obviously.
Yeah.
And you see the signs out there. They say we don't want to breathe grandma's ashes and, you know, all of this kind of thing. And what else have you seen burned in that incinerator? What other types of waste, you know, have you seen come through there other than human, you know, medical waste?
I've seen animals come through there, like dogs, cats. There's like test animals. When we come through there, we had a deer there one time. I think the deer was actually somebody that worked there, shot it, and just basically took all the meat out they wanted and brought it in. You know what I mean?
Just pulled up to the incinerator and said, "Take care of my my deer carcass." Okay.
But I never seen a garbage truck go there too. I think they burn all their trash there too.
And didn't you say there was some burns there that had to be watched or
Yeah, they
supervised?
had watches from like the police department and everything like that for like narcotics.
They're burning narcotics in there.
Yeah.
In the incinerator, in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Like what, for example?
Like heroin, cocaine, marijuana.
So not only is the neighborhood getting, dioxin and grandma's ashes and, animal waste, they're also getting cocaine and heroin?
Yeah.
That's what you're telling me.
Yeah.
And these burns were supervised, correct? Somewhat.
They dropped them off, and then the supervisor was supposed to stay there with us while we were doing it, and they'd walk off. They just tell us what to do, and they'd walk off. There's actually some people there that would take, there's some employees there that would take we'd get pharmaceutical cases in. And they're supposed to be locked and everything like that, and so you can't just burn the whole case. They actually break them open, and they'd be like Percocets, Demerol, stuff like that in there, and they'd actually take them home with them. Methadone pills, methadone, all sorts of stuff people take home.
Really? It's pretty interesting stuff that's going on in there, I gotta say. And so, in the same token, not supposed to be any heads or torsos accepted at the facility, correct?
They don't put me no heads and no torsos, no.
Have you ever seen heads or torsos?
I've seen a head.
What can you tell us about that?
It came from here in Utah. And on that one, we actually tried to do the right thing and send it back to the generator, the place that it came from. But they wouldn't accept it, so they just took it in the incinerator.
And so the more we look into this, we're finding that there's not very good oversight at the source where the waste is leaving from. It's like asking the hospitals to regulate and babysit themselves as far as what they're sending over to
We get stuff
Stericycle.
from every place you can think that has anything to do biologically, we get it. Like from the plasma donation centers, abortion clinics, every hospital you can think of pretty much in Utah, you know what I mean?
And other than the inadequate, apparently, radiation testing that's going on there, what other kind of inspection do they do at Stericycle to see if there's...
I've never really seen any kind of inspection going on there, honestly.
Just throw it all in the conveyor belt and burn it all up?
Yep.
Was there ever any talk amongst plant workers or, fellow employees there about the possibility of prions or human mad cow disease? Is this something that your fellow workers
Most thing
were
that
aware
people were
of?
nervous about was getting cancer. That was the most common thing people talked about. I was more scared of catching AIDS. But, you know what I mean? Dealing with the blood, and if you get blood from like the mortuaries and stuff like that to dispose of. That's why I was more nervous about actually getting AIDS from dealing with that kind of stuff. Because we'd get containers that say AIDS-tainted blood or hepatitis-tainted blood, stuff like that. And I didn't like touching them. It actually kind of scared the hell out of me.
Now, what other stories can you tell us about what goes on in there?
I remember one of the supervisors go there, and she basically tells us, right when our shift started, my shift was, like the graveyard, like I told you, 6 to 6. That's basically everybody's shift. It was ran 24 hours a day. And when I first started there, she was telling all these stories about, how people were saying that they were doing the devil's work or something like that. And she said they could go to hell and everything they want something to... If they want to come and talk bad about it, she'll put them in the incinerator and dispose of them. But everyone that works there, and there's a few good people that are just working there, just supporting their families, you know what I mean? There's a lot of people that don't give a damn about anything there, honestly. And that's mainly all the management, honestly.
And speaking of the management, did you notice, any deliberate moves that would take place in the facility around compliance tests? I mean, would they make any special preparations, or did you observe anything like that going on to prepare for tests or inspections?
The only time that they actually prepare for an inspection is like when they knew it was coming. They'd have us all go the night before and clean everything up, repaint yellow stripes, and basically look all nice and clean before they got there.
They'd have you guys repaint the facility?
Just like the caution yellow, like for like the handrails and where everything's supposed to go. They have us go sweep by the trailers to go clean all the needles up there to hit the ground and behind the incinerator because they're still going to fall off the belt. And they just stack up right there. And then they'd have us, they call it punching the boiler. We shut the incinerator down when it get down to about 250 degrees. And we crawl in there and clean it out. We would punch the boiler and get sprayed with this nasty ass water.
Wow, you've actually been inside the incinerator,
Yeah.
cleaning the incinerator.
Chipping the glass out from all the vials. Yeah.
And do they give you any kind of protective gear when you're in there
Give us
working
a
in the
jacket.
incinerator? A jacket?
It was like this.
Like supposed to be the magic jacket of
It's
protection?
like a raincoat type thing. So I'd have like a garden hose type thing sprayed us to keep us cool a little bit. That's pretty much it.
But no respirators,
No.
nothing to...
Just those cheap ones you can buy at Walmart. You know what I mean? What do they call it? Almost like the felt masks.
Mm-hmm. It's sounds like a pretty unbelievable scene in there. Did any major bypass events go down at the facility when you were there?
Not when I worked there, except for the ones when they smoked out the building. You know what I mean? But I've seen them do all sorts of stuff there. Like when everything's burned, it's supposed to be looked at, make sure everything is burned all the way through. And if not, it's supposed to be taken off the exit belt and taken back to the other belt and burned again. But they wouldn't do that. They didn't care. They just sent it back to the landfill.
So you're saying that things go through the incinerator. This is cadaver parts or this is animal parts, and they don't turn into ash. They come out whole, or they come out still partially intact on the other side.
Yeah. I've actually done it myself where I'd go there and take a hammer and smash bones up and everything. I'm taking and you tell they already come out too, because I've taken titanium hip replacements, knee replacements, just stuff like that. You know what I mean?
They had you smash up bones.
Yeah.
And what was the point of that?
So when they go to the landfill, you can't tell what they are.
So instead of just throw it back in the other pile and send it through the incinerator, they went to the lengths to have you actually go out there and,
Smash them in the dumpster. Yeah.
smash them in the dumpster. This is just a daily occurrence at good old Stericycle.
Well, the bones usually got burned pretty good the first time around, but the incinerator has problems. Sometimes it's all the... Because after it's lit, it only pretty much just runs off itself, you know what I mean? But sometimes when it goes out, the pilot light won't light it up like it's supposed to. Like the thermostat on it itself to keep it at a certain temperature. Yeah, it didn't work.
So basically, it could be running at,
It could be running at 2,000 degrees, it could be running at 5,000 degrees.
and essentially nobody knows. It's just kind of a crapshoot, or
Yeah.
so it's not monitored very well. There's not very good monitoring gear on there as far as the uniformity inside of the incinerator or anything like that.
Not really, no.
What's it like in the building when a bypass episode is going on and they open the bypass stack?
First thing they do is they tell you not to talk to anybody. Like anybody from outside the building, they tell you not to say a damn thing to nobody.
Meaning,
Anybody that's outside of the building, you don't talk to them at all. They ask you questions and everything, you don't talk to them at all. You just walk by them like you don't even know, you know what I mean? And they told us not to talk about Stericycle, even to our family members after we got off work.
Really?
Yeah.
What is their reasoning behind that when they say,
Because, well, they made the excuse saying they were going through a big thing with the Foxborough type thing and everything. They're saying there's too much at risk for us to talk to our family members. And like I say, some of our family members could be someone that's environmentalist and everything like that. They won't like it, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they don't want us to talk about it to our family members.
So there's kind of a gag order, if
Pretty
you will.
much, yeah.
What more can you tell us about the management there and maneuvers that they've made, actions that they've taken to push the incinerator, to greater and greater capacity despite better judgment?
Pretty much the way some of the management there thought of it, if they weren't there, they couldn't get in trouble for it. So they'd tell us what to do, and they'd leave. You know what I mean? So if they're not on the scene, they can't get in trouble for what's going on. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, except for the power of subpoena and things like
Exactly.
that, But what do they, what would they tell you to do?
They go up there and like point, like we have some things that are like, they look like 55-gallon trash cans, but they're full of body parts. It's like, these, like I say, it's like guts, like stomachs, livers, stuff like that. Stuff from the hospital and stuff from like the medical schools and everything like that. Like cadavers, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And they'd go, we can't just put it in there. Or they say something about, we can't burn this yet, but do it anyway. Because some of the things they have to get special orders to burn. And they tell us to put it in anyway. Just don't scan it, just dump it over the top of the hopper. And I don't know if they threw up a couple times emptying those things. But when you walk into the building, it's the worst smell you could imagine in your life. It seriously stinks. They don't keep anything clean. And we even asked for, what's it called? It's not air freshener, it's like a sanitation thing. It's supposed to keep the, say for these in hospitals to clean the ORs down with everything so they keep the smell down and everything.
Mm-hmm.
They won't even do it. They give us Lysol. No, it was Pine Sol, sorry. Pine Sol does not cover up the smell of rotting blood and everything. It doesn't.
On that topic, we were speaking with our mutual friend beforehand, and she was mentioning something about you got blood all over your shoes or something like that. And what can you tell us about that experience or what
I'd
happened
walk
there?
up the belt and everything, actually step on, like, you name it, brains, hearts, blood, everything. I'd have to climb up the belt to get a container unstuck or something. And like I say, I probably came home with probably like at least 500 different people's DNA on my boots.
Wow. And no precautions at all to have any of those, biologicals or potential disease agents walking
I'd
right
still
up
go,
on
but I'd
you.
do the best I could to keep my boots clean at work. After I get off work, I'd spray them down with like rubbing alcohol and stuff like that, but it's the best I could do there.
It's almost, I can't even imagine, what the scene looks like in there.
It's horrible in there. But they pay good, you know what I mean? So,
But you say there was very little precautions in place to give you guys any...
it was pretty much like taking like a group of kindergartners into a candy shop and saying not touching anything. Everyone's going to touch everything, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to do what they want to get rid of it and everything. Like they'd give out bonuses if you get, like say all the BTO ones done in 1 week. They'd give you like a weekly bonus. So they'd basically, in a way, bribing their employees to do it.
And, one thing that surfaced last year was an email between two DAQ employees that essentially alluded to the notion that Stericycle had been flying around as essentially a special agent to their various locations before compliance tests in an effort to optimize stack performance and stuff like that. Did you
Yes.
see anything ever like that going on at the facility?
I was
Special people
told there
coming in?
was, like one day when I got to work, after I started day shift, they told me, hurry, get everything clean and everything. There's going to be someone coming in around 9, 10 o'clock. They go, make sure everything's done, make sure everyone's doing their job properly. And they told me to go make sure the trailers were locked. And because they got stuff stored in the trailers that they don't want. And the trailers that weren't registered either. They didn't have no plates on them or anything, so they said they just there. They say parts trailers, just trailers that are waiting to get registered and stuff like that. But we'd have the pump truck come in about once a week and pump the water out that we were using. So when everything's coming out of the incinerator, there's like water just spraying on everything to make sure everything's out. And all that water just basically recirculated in there. And then the pump truck would come get it, and I have no clue what the difference after that. But
Do you have any information on what was incinerated on any of those times, or were you there? What particular things?
The
were
one
incinerated
bypass
that
that
was bad
I remember.
bypasses that were caught by public in big black inky?
usually what's being burned when it comes out really dark and black is the BTO ones.
Which is,
You could have anything in it, bro. Anything at all.
Tell me about the hand sniffing.
That'd get me in trouble.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Like we'd actually, some of the bags that come in, they're like red biohazard bags, they'd rip open and everything would be arms, legs, feet. One ripped open and everything. The I started crying when I seen that because it was actually a bag full of fetuses. And
You've seen fetuses come
Yeah.
through the facility. How common of an occurrence is that? I mean, is that something that you've seen a lot of, or just on that one occasion?
I see it a lot. I started knowing which bags had weather by the looks of them. And if I seen one look like that, I just tossed it. I didn't want to look at them anymore. Because some we had to look at to see if there's any way it could be chemo stuff. Because I tried to do the chemo stuff, I tried to throw it off to the side.
Is that because it's going to be tested further, or because it could be radioactive?
They could be radioactive and everything. They were supposed to be put in certain containers, but they weren't. And they could be either Stericycle switching them out, or it could be the hospitals not doing their job properly. So,
But you've definitely, seen supervisors order the incineration of bags that were known and tested to be
Yes.
radioactive. And was it known by employees of the facility that that is a direct violation of their Title V air pollution permit?
the time when I was working there, no, I didn't know that part, but there had to be someone that knew it. But they didn't tell me any parts of like what the violations could be or anything. They just basically told me, this is your job, do it. So,
Quite the show in there.
those machines call it major earthquakes. Yeah, there's almost like that, but it spins in a wheel on the side of the belt. And it basically records everything we're putting in there. And they'd go over there, they'd put like a rubber band on this pin and everything, pull it back, so it would just be spinning when we recorded. And then after they'd go back, when you have to spin just for a while without recording anything,
Okay, now what is it that machine records again? The weight of
it
the
records all the
objects?
weight that we're putting in.
And so the supervisors would actually do that themselves, or they would
Yes.
have somebody else do it, or?
The supervisor, I never messed with it. You have to have a key to unlock it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the only other way that everything is recorded is by receipts that print off the computer. Like, I don't think it was actually being recorded properly in the computer. But we were, and when you put something in the hopper, it takes 7 minutes for it to basically go from the hopper all the way through the other end. It takes 7 minutes each time. And not everything gets burned in 7 minutes.
And you said you had seen quite a few animals and animal parts
Yeah.
come through the facility as well. And did that change over the time you were there, or was it going on when you first got started all the way to the end?
When I first got started, there was a lot more of it. Towards the end, before I left there, it started slowing down. I think it's because people were getting suspicious. But like people would bring stuff from home and burn there. Like I'm not sure what they'd be burning, but they'd bring stuff that they had to get rid of, and just easier to bring it to work to get rid of it instead of paying a fee at the landfill.
Employees,
Yes.
just throw anything in there, trash from home, or throw it on the truck, and through it goes, huh?
Yeah. And they don't even keep their trucks clean the way they're supposed to. Like after each time when those trucks get unloaded, they're supposed to be pressure washed inside and out. And basically use, it's almost like green soap. It's supposed to be sterilized and everything each time that truck's unloaded. They don't do it. Because, I mean, you figure some of the stuff could be leaking, and so those trucks could probably, the boxes on the trucks could probably be leaking too. Could be getting that stuff anywhere down the road.
So it sounds pretty much like Stericycle is cutting as many corners as possible to bolster the bottom line. Would you say that's pretty much accurate assessment?
Yeah. Pretty much Stericycle, what they remind me of is like a redneck trying to fix a car. They put more stuff together, building wire, than they do properly, you know what I mean? How they fix things. Like the
Hodgepodge, kind of?
Yeah. Like, I call it the spatula. It's the only thing I can describe it as, but it's a big ram that goes inside the incinerator and drags everything out. That thing didn't work right pretty much. There'd be times I'd get there with shovels and pitchforks and like drag that stuff out by hand. And I didn't tell my girlfriend at the time because she probably would never let me back in the house if I told her some of the stuff, but
Yeah, for sure. What's your thought process on this move that's going on out to Tooele?
honestly, I don't think I should be out there, but maybe before I was like against all the stuff about Foxborough and stuff like that, and I was basically
As far as the protests
Yeah.
and
the guys told everyone that bought a house that they had to sign a paper saying they wouldn't go against Stericycle. Because honestly, Stericycle's been there. I know this is a fact. Stericycle's been there a lot longer than that neighborhood's been there.
that's true.
Because before Stericycle was BFI, which I worked for BFI also, but I did work for the incinerator part.
The question is should that even matter, under the circumstances that
BFI is no more, so I'm not worried about that one.
yeah, just that there's so many residential dwellings built up around it now, so many children.
I started reading a lot of stuff online, and some of the stuff I've heard from other people that's in that neighborhood. There's like a lot of sick kids and everything through there and everything. There's no doubt in my mind now Stericycle causing it. Because you go everywhere else and we're pretty much in Utah, there's going to be sick kids, but it's not anywhere near like what Foxborough is. So, I honestly think they should just be shut down completely. Like the fly ash off from the, like it'd go through a boiler. There's like a big bag on the other side. There's a room where there's boilers in and everything. And it's supposed to catch most of the fly ash and everything like that. And they told us that they keep like 95% of all toxins out of the exhaust from the incinerator. Which I don't believe anymore, but there'd be these big bags of fly ash. It'd be like a metal, all cancer causing. And they'd have us change them, and no respiration when we're changing that bag, nothing. Like we get on our hands and in our gloves and our boots and our everywhere.
Well, and we had read that it's very common to see incinerator ash still active with sepsis and certainly with prions, which cause human mad cow disease, and so the ash is known to be infectious.
Right. And disease known to man's probably in that building, honestly.
And they don't take much precaution to contain the ash that comes off, or how is that managed?
It goes through it goes through like a boiler. And it's supposed to help keep everything it puts the moisture into it, because usually whenever you see Stericycle stacks, it looks like just vapor coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's supposed to be help keeping the ash down. They use, what's it called? I can't remember the chemical name they have in there. Yeah, ammonia. They'd have the truck come in and we'd get these containers of ammonia. They're probably about 200 gallons at a time. And it's supposed to do something with keeping everything down in there. But then after that, it just goes to this, and like a big screw type thing, and after it gets to the bottom, it's like a big drill, but it just pushes it down to these sacks. And they go to like a burlap sack type thing with a plastic bag inside. And we just basically duct tape them shut and send them over. I don't know where they go after.
You don't know where they take the ash, whether it goes to Clean Harbors,
I have no clue where that
Salt and
goes.
Hazardous Landfill, or
They never told me. They just told me to load on trucks and everything. They wasn't really see the paperwork or anything. And I never once saw my name to any of those. They just said, because every time I loaded a truck, And most of our loaded trucks would be like empty containers going back on. I have to sign my name to them, saying I completed the task. On the one with the fly ash, they wouldn't want me to sign my names to them.
Anything else?
Yeah, there'd be people playing around with like libs and stuff there.
Just like, playing football with somebody's hand or throwing it around the facility or what?
But I've seen people like kick stuff across the floor and everything, making jokes about it.
It sounds like something out of a Quentin Tarantino movie, man.
Kind of.
Tell them about the what are they called? When they do the fake knees.
Knee replacements and everything.
Mm-hmm.
They're made out of titanium. And titanium's worth quite a bit of money. Stericycle didn't want nothing to do with it, so there were some employees there that take the replacements and everything and take them into recycle to get the money for them. Which I never really dare to do it, because I know each one of those have a serial number on them. This is just like a social security number to you, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So if it gets put in your body, it's registered to you for life. So I didn't want to touch any of that stuff, but there were people that had to take that kind of stuff there. But like some of the stuff I've burned, like some of the human body parts, the flesh would be burned off them yet totally before they,
On the other side.
yeah. So, what's that movie called? Have you ever seen Night of the Living Dead? You know, like when they're burning the zombies and everything, you see like the burning flesh, how it just looks after they're put out and everything. Yeah. Think about barbecue chicken on a barbecue. There you go. Anyone hungry for chicken?
And they make you just go in there and deal with all that stuff by hand, huh?
Yeah.
Another good old day at Stericycle.
One of my bonus part, they'd let us take showers after work. They actually have a shower facility there. Like, we'd go so far to our street clothes. Before like, we'd go into like the locker room. After we were on the other side, we had to be in uniform there. So
So that was one nice little perk
that's
of the
probably the only
job.
thing they did right.
You mentioned that right there. You didn't want them.
Oh, yeah, we couldn't, when we go on break and everything, we couldn't go, we had to take at least our Stericycle shirt off before we could leave the property at all, because they didn't want anyone to know where we worked. They said they were scared for our safety.
I don't want anyone in the neighborhood to know that you're
Yeah.
affiliated with Stericycle,
Exactly.
essentially. An extension of the gag order that you were
Pretty much,
discussing
yeah.
earlier. Well, they have been under a little bit of heat, a little bit of a media firestorm.
I heard about Aaron Brockovich and everything. I thought it was like some kind of gag everyone was talking about, you know what I mean? Like, honestly, I didn't know she was a real person. I thought it was just a movie. But turns out it's true.
What's your thoughts about her getting involved in this battle?
At first I thought it was kind of silly, and they're just wasting their time, you know what I mean? Like I was told, the manager there told me that everyone there signed a paper saying they wouldn't go get a Stericycle if they moved in that neighborhood. And I guess that's how it was when they first built it. Everyone had to sign that. But after people move out, the new people comes in.
Right.
The people that moved in after them, it was like void then, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the houses were sold without full disclosure
Mhm.
to the new parties coming in.
But I was told that they wouldn't go against them at all. What I was told we had to sign. I remember coming to work one day and we had signs out front saying eviction notice.
Did you run those signs through the incinerator?
Yes, we did.
Now she put a sign back out.
It said
Said
rent was
was
paid, MF, you know what that means.
They did, huh? They had a little response to the neighborhood on that
And we
one.
did have someone to there in Foxborough that threw, I don't know if it was from Foxborough or what, but they threw like bags of fake blood at us.
Really, like as you were coming into work, or they were throwing them at your car, or?
At people that
And
actually.
people that was walking by there.
And do you think there's, is there an empathetic aspect to employees there? I mean, do they understand why people are, so outraged about this facility, or is it
Smart
just like
ones,
you're trying to kill my job and screw you, or do they actually understand that there's a real danger from the facility? Has awareness of that grown with, all
I
of
think
the...
so. Like a little bit, but like honestly, the night shift when I worked there was 3 people I could talk to. There's only 3 people that I could understand English. So,
Meaning there's a lot of foreigners working in there, or
yes,
mostly Hispanics, or
yes.
it's the majority of the employees?
I think through the whole thing is management's, they're white, then for the actual crew that works there is probably maybe, all of them, maybe 6 white people, the rest are Hispanic.
And there's about 50 people, we understand, that work there?
50, 60 people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they probably hire probably at least, I'd say, 25 new people a month at least.
Really?
It's just got a really high turnover rate from the smell and everything when you walk in there.
That's how fast they're revolving through those jobs?
Like, the same day I started, there's a guy that walked in there, puked, and left.
Just like that?
Just like that.
Do you get used to it at all, or is it just always just...
You get used to it a little bit. Like when you open a container that has blood and you dump it, or like, you kind of open it and you think you have a sealed, you throw it in there, it breaks open, or you empty one and the blood's leaked into the container, there's no getting used to that smell. It's nasty. I don't know how to describe the smell to you guys.
I hope it's a smell I never have to smell.
I hope so too. What are those books called? For every chemical a company has, they're supposed to have this sheet. MSDS books. I'm going to go look at one of them, and it's like half there. It doesn't say anything about like formaldehyde in there. Come to get that in there. And everyone knows that's cancer causing. Nothing about the money there, nothing about... They should even have something to do what, like something posted like what you should do if you get blood on you or something. I don't have anything like that.
Really, no safety protocols?
The only really safety protocol they had there is you had to go get Gatorade every half hour.
Get Gatorade?
Yeah.
Was that like to stay hydrated, or?
I mean, it gets hot in that warehouse.
Mm-hmm.
Like, really hot. It's probably, like, considering we're at 3,900 degrees, with all the doors open and everything, we got in trouble somewhere to keep the doors open. But I went and told my boss one time ago, I'm not going to stay in here. And there's like probably 5 or 6 of us went up there and said the same thing. That we're not going to be in there with all the doors closed. It's way too hot. Like, it probably gets about, let's say, about 150, 160 degrees in our warehouse.
Jeez. And, I mean, there's been a lot of talk out there about, there being more cutting-edge technologies to deal with this medical waste that would...
I've heard of a lot of them. Some I don't agree with, like the autoclaving and stuff like that. Like, how's that going to get rid of the needle itself? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. How's that going to get rid of the, like...
There's some new technologies where they ozonate it and shred it into kind of this confetti-type stuff, and there's a lot of that out there. But under the current circumstances, what should Stericycle be doing, in your opinion, to better protect their employees and
change their slogan for one, because it's not even accurate anymore.
Change their slogan?
Reducing risk, protecting people. Yeah, right.
Now, what about all of this business of just always maxing out the incinerator, always just pushing it
That's
harder?
like days. I mean, that thing can go. If you keep maxing something out like that, it can actually blow. You know what I mean? The boiler can only handle so much at a time. And there's a lot of pressure going through that thing.
And you say they run it to pretty unsafe limits over there?
Oh yeah. Like the manager, I know they get like kickbacks and everything if they like bonuses, if you will, from whoever actually owns the Stericycle. I know they get like some kind of bonus when they get rid of everything. Because why else would someone be pushing that hard to get rid of everything? Like they had like employee incentives there. Like if say you're on time to work every day for the month or the quarter, you get a $500 bonus. If you get rid of everything in the week, or they want you to do your workload for the week, you get a $100 bonus on your check. But stuff like that. So I can understand why some people be doing the stuff they're doing there, just getting more money to feed their families and everything, but there's a lot of wrong going on in there. There's a lot. It'd be the trailers I was telling you about.
The trailers that were just basically piled up with excess
Yeah.
waste. That they were
They'd take them off, and if someone asked about it, they said they were going to get a DOT inspection done on them. Which a DOT inspection would be done right there at the yard.
but they were full of waste at the time.
Yeah.
Any idea where they took those
I was
trucks?
driving around, honestly.
Just to get them off the location.
Yeah. Like the pallets that stuff would come in on, those pallets are supposed to be destroyed after we unload them. Because stuff could leak on them and everything like that. And if you sent, like they're selling to a pallet yard. So who knows, they're like end up in Walmart or somewhere else, you know what I mean? But,
Oh boy. Well, I want to say thank you very much for taking the time to illuminate to our audience what goes on behind closed doors over at the great mystery that is Stericycle. So thank you.
Hopefully if I helped you, there's no mystery really anymore, so.
Indeed. So thank you for taking the time with us this evening. Appreciate it.